You know, Super Mario and the 7 Stars on the Nintendo Switch would be really cool. Maybe adding it onto the Nintendo Switch Online service could work, or maybe they can make a sequel to the game, which would be really cool. Because honestly, for me, Paper Mario just isn't what it used to be, and in my humble opinion, we need a new RPG-centric Mario game. Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the Robo-Chan Show, where we cover the latest gaming news, leaks, and rumors from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo in 2020 and beyond. If you want to be kept up on the latest gaming news, make sure you click that red subscribe button below this video and that notification bell so you know when I upload. In this video, we're going to talk about the recent Nintendo news about Nintendo cutting the JoyCon price in Japan and how much they're cutting it by. And of course, if this Nintendo Switch JoyCon price cut is going to hit the US as well. And we'll also be talking about a Nintendo Switch leak that completely skipped over my head, and I think it skipped over a lot of our heads because everyone was so busy covering the Super Mario 35th anniversary games. But I'm glad I caught it now because oh boy, it would be huge if it's true. So it really does seem like Nintendo is finally back to announcing new Nintendo Switch games. For the longest time, over a year in fact, Nintendo was very quiet and we didn't really hear anything from Nintendo when it comes to news on Nintendo Switch games in 2020, and it kind of left us in a dark place. And it's kind of scary here. But lo and behold, Nintendo has been blasting us with Nintendo news left and right since September, which actually was part of another Nintendo leak. I wonder if there's anything to that. Anyways, we have gotten a lot of games like the Super Mario 3D All-Star games and Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which is coming soon, as well as a prequel to Breath of the Wild, with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity coming very soon as well. I mean, not to mention we have gotten 2 Monster Hunter games, and we're gonna be getting Mario 3D World plus Bowser. Nintendo is on a roll, guys, but Nintendo still hasn't set up 2021, and I'm wondering if they have a surprise for us with Square Enix. So I want to tell you guys about this little fantastic game on the Super Nintendo called Super Mario and the Legend of the 7 Stars. A classic game that mixes Square Enix's classic Final Fantasy RPG mechanics with Mario, with what I thought was a cool art style when I first played it. And it seems like we might be getting a sequel to the game or some kind of game that's similar to it with this Nintendo leak that just flew right past my head about a month ago, and I'm just now finding it. So about a month ago, when everyone was too busy with the craziness that was the Super Mario 35th anniversary, a Nintendo leak by Jeff Grubb, the one who leaked a ton of Nintendo news and Nintendo Directs and mini Directs and games and much more, tweeted this: Super Mario RPG. Now the weird thing about this is that this tweet was tweeted out around the time of the Super Mario 35th anniversary, and we know that we didn't get any RPG games within that collection. Now another Nintendo leaker has stepped up in that tweet and said something about this, and this is what they say: received information about this game and how supposedly Square Enix is working on a sequel for the Switch. The info said that this was releasing on the Nintendo Switch Online by the time they're ready to announce the sequel project. So this is along the lines of how they told us about Paper Mario and the Origami King. They announced this new Paper Mario game and a couple months later we got the game. Now one thing to keep in mind, this is not fact. This could always be wrong. Do not take this as fact, take it as a Nintendo leak or Nintendo rumor, because Nintendo leaks and rumors are not true. But if it does become true, it would be huge and also make you ask a question. What happens to Paper Mario? Because Paper Mario used to be a more RPG oriented game. So is Nintendo gonna throw out Paper Mario and build a whole new Mario RPG series with Square Enix? Or maybe the fact that Paper Mario is moving away from the RPG mechanics is a sign that the series is moving forward and left a void, and Square Enix is gonna fill it with this Mario RPG game. Now one thing to keep in mind is that Nintendo is being a little stingy when it comes to Mario and using his characters in different ways, and that's why we got Paper Mario and the Origami King. But who's to say they haven't changed their mind? You never really know when it comes to Nintendo, because Nintendo is the king of left field. But if Nintendo did change their mind about how they portray Mario in games and are more open to changing things and using different Mario characters in different ways, I would love to see a sequel to Super Mario and the Legend of the 7 Stars. Because honestly, I really miss those more experimental Nintendo Switch games from Nintendo. I mean, the Rabbids Mario crossover was actually pretty cool, and it was a Ubisoft game. No offense to Ubisoft. So it would be kind of cool if we could get that from Ubisoft, but more along the lines of a Square Enix game. Now for those who haven't been keeping up with the Nintendo news, recently the Joy-Cons have been in the Nintendo news headline for the Joy-Con Drift, which is a Joy-Con deepfake that will make your character move without you even touching the Joy-Con. Now a lot of people have had to replace their Joy-Cons, and they're not the cheapest thing to replace, but luckily if you're in Japan you may be seeing a price drop, and for us US Switch players, I'll get to you guys in a moment. So if you haven't heard yet, Nintendo will be cutting the Joy-Con price from 4,480 yen or $43 in US dollars to 3,000 2,740 yen or $36. So it's about a $7 to $10 difference for us in the US. The JoyCon price is for the gray, blue, red, pink, yellow, green, and neon red. Now Nintendo doesn't have any plans for the price cut in the US yet, but I would highly doubt that they would not cut the price if they cut the price in Japan and leave us US players on the floor. But I think the next question we have to ask is, why is Nintendo cutting the price of the Joy-Cons if the Nintendo Switch is selling so well? Because the Nintendo Switch is doing amazing in sales, so why would you exactly want to make less money than you would if you didn't cut the price of the Joy-Cons? Well, the Nintendo Switch is getting older, and with all those rumors of the Nintendo Switch Pro, which I have a ton of videos on that, you can click the top right corner to watch those, it makes a lot of sense. Especially with holiday season coming up, and that price tag of $36 or $35 would look very nice to shoppers around the holiday season. Especially with production of Nintendo Switch wrapping up even more now, with more Switches being out in the wild. When it comes to holiday season, parents who might pick up an extra Joy-Con and see that new price and say, huh, that's not a bad price, maybe I'll get another Joy-Con for the brother or the sister or maybe multiplayer or something like that. And as I've said before, I think it will come to the US, it's just really a matter of when Nintendo will decide to cut the price of the Joy-Con in the US. Now I'm gonna sneak a third topic in today's show because something that I think is pretty important I want to talk about. So for those who haven't heard, Level 5, the ones behind games like the Ni no Kuni games and the Yokai Watch games, are shutting down operations in the US. Now according to GameIndustry.biz, the company that is placed in the US, Level 5 Abby began reducing and laying off the majority of staff. But the good thing about this is that everyone who was laid off was given every indication that the studio was shutting down, so that's good that they didn't just cut and run. Now up until now there hasn't been anything official said by the company as of this recording, and I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on this as much as I can, especially for my fellow RPG fans, because I know a lot of you guys do like the games that come from Level 5. But what does this exactly mean for us US players who are based in the US? Well, we could possibly see less games from Level 5 or even no games, unfortunately, come to the US and only see Japan releases. Let's say they make Ni no Kuni 3, we could see that game stuck in Japan and never released in the US unless some other company handles the translation, which would be a huge bummer because I love the Ni no Kuni games. I know a lot of people are still waiting for that localization of the latest Yokai Watch game, so I hope there's some kind of workaround to this. Or maybe they'll open up another US studio, who knows. So what do you think about today's topics? Are you excited about the price cut and are hoping that it's coming to the US? Are you interested in the sequel or a new game that's along the lines of Super Mario and the 7 Stars? And what are your thoughts about Level 5 Abby shutting down? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you enjoy these Nintendo leaks, rumors, and news, subscribe for more of that. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.